okay.
No. Good. It started?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Welcome, YouTube. Alright, so we're finally live. I hope you guys have been keeping up with Beyonkas Playhouse topic of the month, which is what a king looks for in his queen. And so I have been handpicking some very, what I like to call intelligent black men, intelligent men who definitely fit the criteria of being able to speak on this topic. I'll say that the best way I can. So I've had the pleasure of having some really, really nice gentlemen on my show in the year that I've been doing Beyonkas Playhouse Talk Show. And so I've been calling some of them back, and I have some guests that are coming that'll be new guests, but coming to talk to us about this topic. As much as us as women, you know, we're always trying to figure out what it is that a man wants, what it is that a man's looking for, you know, how we can get ourselves together and what can we do to make ourselves desirable or make ourselves just wanted by a man and be a wife or be, you know, a girlfriend, whatever it is you may be looking for, you know, as a woman. You know, I felt like the best way to get that answer will be to go to a man. So for the entire month of June, I am going to men, and we are having this awesome conversation about what it is that a king looks for in a queen. So first and foremost, welcome.
Welcome, thank you.
What do you think about just the name of this topic alone?
I think it's a well-fit topic, and it deserves some explanation, and I think it piques the interest of the people.
Absolutely, which is why I'm doing it, because I think that it's definitely a topic that should be discussed, and I think that, you know, who better to discuss this with other than our good girlfriends and our moms and our sisters and all that, but with the actual men. So, how did you feel with me asking you? Because I asked Kashif, I said, you know, could you come on and speak on this topic? How did you feel about being able to come and speak on this topic?
Well, I felt respected, and I was happy to do it because, as everybody knows, you know, I'm a Muslim, so we have a high value for women, and on the contrary, some people actually think that we don't even look at women as women. So this would be a good, like, kill two birds with one stone, like destroy the stereotypical views of that, and also show you what a man looks in a woman as far as from a perspective of Islam, and I'll also tell you from a general point of view as well.
And that is the absolute reason why I decided to also call you onto the show. I think that you speak very well in representing the Islamic faith and representing Muslim men, and so I thought it would be perfect to have you on. And of course, as if you guys don't know, you know, Brother Kashif has 4 wives, so who better to know about women and than this brother? He's been blessed to obtain 4, you know, wives, so I think that you definitely have some great advice you can give out there to both men, and, you know, and just allowing the women to know what it is that, you know, a Muslim man looks for, as well as, you know, like you just said, you know, how the stigma that's been put on Muslim men since before my time, you know, before our time. We just realized we're the same age, but before our time, you know, I know that a lot of people think that Muslims, you know, have that perspective of women where they should walk behind them. You know, all those things you hear, right? The women should walk behind the man. You know, the woman is beneath a man and has to just be obedient. And sometimes they take, you know, it's funny, in Christianity they take the vows and they say, you know, be obedient. But in Islam, they like, oh, you get beat on, you know, things like that. So I thought it would be perfect to have you come on here and just give your perspective so that it could, just like you said, kill 2 birds in one stone.
Cool. I also want to say that I think a prerequisite statement should be that people should hold the view of we judge a man by the truth and not the truth by a man. Meaning, we look at a person's character and see does he reflect on what the truth is. But we don't judge the truth on the characteristics of a man. Meaning, sometimes people, they do stuff that's not Islamic or whatever the religion may be, but particularly Islam. You might have a man who beat his wife. You might have a man who makes his wife walk 10 feet behind you, maybe. And then someone will see this and attribute it to the religion, you know? So a prerequisite statement is, what we're going to talk about is that, along with your topic, is that you don't judge the truth by a man, but a man by the truth. And that goes for women. When I say man, I mean men and women.
Definitely. That's deep, and that definitely should be talked about. I think that's definitely something that we should just all implement in our lives as well. Definitely not judging, especially one thing that we see. So let's just get on into it. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. And you guys have the floor just like we do. So if there's a question that you are curious about, tonight we have the honor of not only knowing what it is that a king looks for in a queen, but what a Muslim man looks for in a Muslima. So we have like two good things that we'll be talking about. And so if you have a question that you like to ask, feel free to comment. If you have something to say on something that you hear tonight, feel free to comment. Please share, hit that share button. It's right down there. Look down right there. Yep, hit that share button and invite your friends as well, and just enjoy the show. So let's just get right on into it. And I guess start with the terminology of a king looking for a queen. I personally decided to call this show, the topic, A King Looking for a Queen, just to give men, and women the understanding of the value of each other. I think that, we can refer to each other as men and women, of course, and we still should value each other, but just the terminology of king and queen just like heightens that a little bit. But how do you feel about that terminology in itself?
Well, for myself, personally, I consider myself to be a man who's striving to fulfill his obligations towards his creator, and to be just and fair with my women folk, my wives, to take care of them. So if that's the definition of a king, then okay, I fit it. But I don't put myself on a pedestal. I mean this in a context. I don't mean that I don't see value in myself. I mean that with humility, I put myself on a level of just being a striving man that was trying to fulfill his obligations and striving. If that's perceived as a king, then so be it.
Okay.
The first thing I think in general, because our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and let me excuse myself, I have to open up because when we do topics or anything, we give all praise to God first, so let me do that.
Absolutely.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما يحب ربنا ويرضى أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم. What I've said is I seek refuge or protection with Almighty God away from the cursed devil, and I praise God with all praise and thanks with an abundant praise. So, and I bear witness or I testify to the fact that I recognize that none has the right to be worshipped in truth except Almighty God, and that Muhammad ibn Abdullah, 600 years approximately after Jesus Christ, is who God chose to send as his final messenger. So that's what I said earlier, just to translate.
Okay.
Our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that in general, right, he said men look for 4 characteristics in a woman, okay? This is general from a, it's been a culture for men, or a cultural way for men in general, just to view women, to look for these traits in a woman. Beauty, of course, maybe wealth, he said beauty, wealth, lineage, meaning her background, her family line, and religion, meaning her commitment to her creator or way of life. He said that those are the 4 general qualities or characteristics that men look for. But he advised us. He said that the one that you need to look for in a woman the highest, most supreme quality is that she's religious, meaning she's God-fearing. And he said, if you don't do this, then may your hands be rubbed in dust, or may you be humiliated, meaning that a woman who's God-fearing, a woman who has this quality is going to be a great reminder for you, and it's going to be like a mirror, a reflective characteristic with you, a reminder and a great benefit. So those 4 qualities are generally what men look for, but he the Prophet Muhammad, he advised that when you look for a woman and you look for her trait, then look to her piety, her righteousness, how much she fears her creator. And if she has a good level of that, then you're going to have a good level of a successful marriage.
Definitely, and I could say, by meeting and being around your wives, definitely stuck to that, because they definitely are that. So, for any woman, not any woman, but any I guess Muslim woman that would be looking to find a husband and trying to prepare themselves for a husband, I guess again, you can lay out those traits, like for them to be able to reflect on and to be able to implement within themselves and their, life, so that they can, I guess, be ready for a husband.
Right, that's correct. I guess, I don't guess, a mistake that some men are making today is that they're too hasty. Women and men alike. We're hasty, meaning God said He created us in haste anyway. Like, we're quick to rush and make decisions without thinking them through. For me personally, when I see a female who I may have some attraction to, the reason I said may is because you don't know a person until you get to know a person and find out if you're compatible or whatnot. We have rules and regulations for that process, meaning, sit downs and things like that. And I guess that question will come is how do a Muslim find out if the woman is the person for him. But right now, to stick to your topic, some of us were too hasty. Some men are too hasty, and they just look at the attraction, and they don't analyze their future, how their future is going to be with the woman, how can she benefit him, how does she benefit him, how does the man benefit her, how do I benefit this woman, has she been married before, how does she treat her mother, how does she treat her father. We have to analyze these things because it's going to be a reflection on how she treats you. And since we're talking about only right now the traits that we look for a woman, I don't want to say bias, but right now that's what we're talking about. So a man should do these things. Look towards, and that leads to another thing. You should want to meet her family, because if you meet her family, you can see how she interacts with her family, see her tone of voice. When I say that, I mean how kind she is, how gentle she is. You want to see how endearing she is with her father, her own father. Because if a woman is endearing to her father, then most likely he taught her right, or her mother taught her right, and have a wholesome family, and she's going to be like that with her husband, because she's already like that before she gets sent over to her husband. That she's going to be like that. So these are number one traits that I personally look for. How the woman interacts with her family, her immediate family. How a woman is in society. What is her mindset? What is her goals? What are her goals? Her short-term goals, her long-term goals. Where does she want to be in life? How does she value herself? Some women don't value themselves.
Yes, that's so good, because all that's so good. But definitely, I would think, I know it's different in Islam than it is in Christianity. No, I know that it's different. Just period when it comes to dating and when it comes to seeking a wife, because clearly, in Islam, a Muslim man is seeking a wife, not seeking a girlfriend. He's seeking, and sometimes, even though in other religions, when you out dating, the overall goal is to get married and to, have a life partner, but I think that, like you said, people rush, and when you rush, you miss all of that. You miss, the littlest things, like you said, like just seeing how they interact with their family, or seeing how they speak, how their voice is. All of those things are so important, and so, one of the things that we know in our age, sometimes you meet people that are have gone through some things, and in Islam, when you are, for those first, let me say this, let me let you explain the process, because it's different. So when you find a wife, or you find a sister that you're interested in, a potential candidate, explain to them, because my question was about to just go over that, and they will probably have been lost. But if you find a potential candidate and you're interested in her, explain to them the process of what happened.
Okay, before I get into that, because something you said goes with this. Actually, remember when you said that Islam and Christianity is different as far as dating? They're actually not. Remember in the beginning I said, that's why I made this statement. You judge a man by the truth and not truth by a man.
Right.
Christianity does not allow you to date. Some Christians date anyway. I have to be just even to the Christian faith.
Okay.
There's nothing in Christianity that says you're allowed to date a man or woman. There's nothing. There's no scripture there. It's the same process. When you go through it, the same thing in our religion. When you find a man is interested in a woman, in the scripture, in the Bible scripture, that man went to that woman's father. And like, for example, Moses, when he married his wife, he went to the woman's father. And he gave her away. They wasn't just hanging out, going to... They didn't have movies back then, but they wasn't just chilling on the rock side by the water, stuff like that. So you still, in that religion, have to be just with all the faith. That in Christianity, it does not allow you to date certain Christians choose to do that. So that's that.
Okay.
All right. Now, how is it that a Muslim can marry or find that compatible wife if to the society that Muslims don't date, and we don't date? So what we have is we have this situation called what people call a sit down. Sit downs are not mandatory, but a sit down is this: you go to a male representative of the female. Okay. When I say representative, I mean her immediate family, her guardian, her father, grandfather, great grandfather, uncle, someone who's a male, not her cousin. We'll talk about that later. But her father, her brother, her uncle, her son, if he's at the age of puberty, like this. Why? These people have the best of interest for her. So they're going to have their best of interest. They're not there while you're talking to her to be nosy and all that. They're there to ensure her safety, and if you're going to be a good candidate for the one they're giving away. For example, my daughter. When my daughter grows up, my oldest daughter, she'll be 10 in November. So when my daughter gets older or ready for marriage, I should say, I'm not just going to be, okay, sure, marry. You understand?
Right.
So there's going to be a process. The process is what you're talking about is that we're going to have a sit down. I'm going to have to meet this gentleman. I'm going to have to sit down with him, see what his creed is, his belief system, because that's vital to how he's going to be leading a life with my daughter. Is he pious? Is he worshiping his creator? These things. So this is what we do. In our religion, we sit with the female, the intended female who we want to marry, with her father, and if her father's not there, then her brother, something like this. And while they're there in the presence, we're asking the same questions that anybody else will ask on a date, and you're still going to find out if you're compatible. One of the greatest benefits for this is the safety of the woman, because a woman and a man will meet each other, and they don't know each other from Adam and Eve, and then they hook up, get each other's numbers, go out to eat, go on a date, and then the dude turns out to be Crazy Joe from down south or from wherever, and he'll wind up, sorry to say it, sometimes they get raped, or they get ditched off or beat up, or that one night stand thing, and the woman ain't looking for this, but she's put in a vulnerable position because she doesn't have one of her male relatives or representatives there to overlook her. So when people say, oh, that's so extreme, is it? Because when you look at the news and you see that little girl was with that dude at Red Lobster or wherever they go, and then they can't find her, or Felicia Barnes or something like that, and she got thrown in. What male in her family was there? No one.
Right.
So now, is that extreme, or was it really extreme to let your women folk out with a guy that you don't know? Doesn't matter if you like him the first time you see him. You don't know these people. Right. So you should sit with them. So Islam ensures and guarantees the vital protection of the woman folk. Right. So right now, that's automatically a huge stereotype crush that we look at a woman low. If we did, we wouldn't do that.
Right. So in that process, you guys get some info, but some education on Islam. But in that process of finding that potential and having that sit down with that sister, that sit down that you have with that sister usually, like you said, is just with one other person, which is a male from her family. So, usually, from that sit down, you may have one or two, and like you said, it's optional to even have that sit down. Normally, she's
get married.
Forced. Yeah, she's not forced. This is where she, decide whether she wants to or not. If she does, and you guys have a sit down and everything goes well, and you feel like this is a great potential wife, and then you guys make the next step to getting married, what would be the process? I mean, because I'm asking this, and trying not to get tongue tied, but for me, one of the things that I used to look at is like, well, you don't have the process of getting to know a person in depth when you just have that one or two sit down.
Okay.
Like, and going in depth with like what you just said, to know about the family and things like that.
Okay, I understand. So the sit down is just an initial thing. So a sit down is just so that the one who proposes and the one who accepts the proposal of a sit down, meaning the man and woman, they get together just to ask some general questions about each other. Now, how do you really do an in-depth background of someone? There's answers for this too. So we do reference checks, character references. So if someone's going to come to my daughter or come to me about my daughter, I want to know everything about this man. So what I'm going to do is, and he's going to be a Muslim, inshallah, someone who's fearing his creator. So what I'm going to do is, contact the masjid, because if he says, well, I don't go to a masjid, that's a red flag already, because men are supposed to go to the masjid and pray and worship God outside of the work that they do to provide for themselves and their family.
Right.
So I'm going to contact the masjid, or the mosque, some people don't know, the place of worship that Muslims go to ask the leader of the masjid or the congregation of the masjid, a couple of them, can you testify to the good character of this person who's coming to me about my daughter?
Okay.
And that's not going to be a majority of people just lying on this man.
Okay.
So if the majority of people speak bad about him with evidence, you got your answer. And if the
Okay.
majority of them are praising him just from what's apparent in public, then at least you got something going on with that. That's that.
Okay.
Then you also want to meet that man's family. You want to meet his father. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to judge him on his father. His father might be crazy guy, whatever. But I'm just saying, you want to get a background of what kind of family he comes from. What kind of values do he have? You know? You know, some idea. So you do that. You investigate like this. And it's not called spying. This is not spying. This is checking, because you're going to give a prized, valued possession, your daughter, you know, away to another man. My daughter is more valuable than any valuable thing that's on this planet. It's my daughter. So I'm not just going to give her away to some guy just because he's interested in her. He has to fit the criteria. So what I do is, like you said, they have to sit down, they go do some general conversation. It could be some religious questions and some personal questions that they choose to ask. And they don't have to be shy. I mean, not shy. They don't have to be too shy as not to ask something personal. You can ask as deep as you want, because why? You might wind up with this person in your life. So you don't want to say, well, how come you ain't tell me this? You didn't ask.
Right. So would you do the same thing as a Muslim man? Because, I mean, on the other end, because of course if that's your daughter, then you have that, you know, that leeway to go into the community and ask about the brother. But if you're going into the marriage, if you're going in as the potential husband, you know, do you do the same thing for the Muslim woman? Do you go to the masjid and you ask?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You
Because
do the same thing.
she could be a lunatic too, just like a man could be a lunatic.
Absolutely.
So the same way. But you don't go to the women because, you know, we separate from the men and women because of proposed trials or temptation. So what you do is you ask the sister's wakil, her guardian, you say, he might know his wife. For example, his wife, the guardian of the woman, his wife may know the sister. You understand?
Okay.
So his wife goes to the masjid, right?
Okay.
And, you know, get some investigation like that. With the same process, just the woman doing it. Same process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then with having multiple wives, so if you have one wife and then, you know, you pretty much, you had to sit down and, you know, you have that, okay, like, you know what, this sister seems like a nice sister. Do you go for validation to make sure that the first wife is okay with the second wife as far as feeling the same comfortability that you feel? Like, okay, this is a good sister. You know, we've done our investigation. Like, this is a good sister, and together it's okay.
So Allah, God has given a man a judgment to see, you know, who he wants to marry, because it's up to him to marry who he wants to marry. Also, you use wisdom. So, in my situation, Jamila is the first wife, as people who watch this show know. And if you don't know, Jamila is the first wife. So when Layla was coming around, when I sat with Layla on my own, I also told Layla and I also told Jamila, I was not secret about this, that there's a potential second wife coming. I didn't ask her how she felt about it. You know why? Because I already know how she felt about it, because before I married her, we had to sit down and we laid everything on the table. So there's no need to ask her how she feels about it, because I already know how she feels about it. She says, Jamila, I'm talking about, whatever Allah says, that goes. I'm cool with it. The thing is that make sure that the person is beneficial for the family and not a disruptor or corruptor. So I invited Layla to the home, my home, with my wife. Before Layla was my wife, I invited her to my wife.
Okay.
To Jamila. And they clicked just like that. As y'all know, y'all saw them talk about it.
Yeah.
They clicked just like that. And when they clicked like that, you know, it was just like a full throttle thing. And I wasn't seeking Jamila's approval while I was seeking her approval, if you know what I mean. I make the decision, but I want my wife to put some input, because sometimes women see things in other women that we guys just don't see.
Absolutely. That's the main reason I ask, because, you know, sometimes, despite the fact that, you know, a woman may feel, we act off emotions, I want to say sometimes. I still think that, you know, if a sister is definitely okay and 100% understanding that, look, this is what Allah says, so I'm going to accept it, that you will want your best interest as well as her best interest. And she may see some things that you just might not see, you know, and so it may be able to just pick up on some things, because we're big on vibes as well. So when looking for a wife, we know what you're looking for. So when looking for a second wife, is it the same thing? Are you still looking for the same characteristics, the same thing?
Okay, good question. So I'll speak on the Islamic faith, because there's a verse in Al Quran in chapter 51, in verse 56, it says, here's the English translation. God says, He did not create mankind and jinkind except that they should worship me, meaning God. So everyone's purpose in life is to serve the Creator, worship the Creator, be obedient to the Creator. So this is the number one thing, or quality, I want to say quality, that a Muslim man looks for in a queen. We're going to say queen because we value a woman as queen. So this is what we look in her, what we look to her for. Is she a pious woman? When I say pious, I'm not saying she's infallible. I'm saying that she's a striving woman who seeks to please her Lord, and that's going to be attractive to us. Like, wow, this woman, when she goes out, she's not going to be flirting with the guys. She's not going to be one who is just in every man's face. You know what I'm saying? She's going to cover herself and be modest. She's a good cultivator. I should put that in there. A cultivator. What I mean? She has mercy and compassion, and she knows how to, with wisdom, upbring a child or children. Cultivation with speech, cultivation with passion, and everything else that goes along with it. You know, with the household. She's a good cleaner. But I don't mean that a woman's job is to clean without the assistance of a man. I mean, she's able to do these things while the man is out taking care of in the workforce, getting the money to provide for himself, her, and the household. So while he's away, she's making sure the house is nice. But when he's there, he makes sure the house is nice with her.
Okay, that's perfect. So, do you think that there is a difference now? Because, well, no, I know you've been Muslim all your life. You were born Muslim, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I was about to ask a question that wouldn't pertain to you, but I guess I can ask it in a different light. Do you think that there's a difference in what you would look for? I don't even want to say that. Like, that's not a good question. That's not.
Just ask it, because I think I can relate. Just go ahead.
Okay, so from looking for a Muslim wife to looking for
a non-Muslim wife?
I guess I don't
Just
know.
a woman.
A woman. Okay, let's just say.
A woman in general?
Yeah, a woman in general. Do you think that you would look differently?
I can fit this category because remember what I said in one of your shows. I told people this. I said I was raised in an Islamic environment, Islamic house, but I came to an age where I didn't always follow that. And remember, there was a portion of my life that was not like I am now. So
okay.
I can consider myself.
Good. I don't want to take you out of that.
It's fine.
Okay.
I can consider myself in the view or limelight of some other guys, but not to the extent of a lot of ignorance.
Okay.
A lot of ignorance. I mean, I wasn't out there dogging and disrespecting women, but it was a point in my life where I wasn't looking for piety because I myself wasn't looking for piety for myself. So what I was doing was, as a man who's not religious, so to say, at that time, or just a man in general, we just look for face value things. We look for a person that's not trying to get over. We don't want you to be a gold digger, right?
Okay.
We're not saying that we won't give our money and spend our money, but we don't want you to be wanting us just for that purpose.
Okay.
Because some women only, because you'll hear a woman's mouth, she say, son. She'll say, oh, you can't afford me. When some woman has said this, while not even knowing your bank account or knowing your bank account. So for a woman to say that off top, it gives, we don't know her heart, but it gives an indication that maybe she's all about the money, and that's it, possibly. Perhaps. Okay. I say perhaps because we don't know her heart. But we don't want that. So we look for a woman who's mutually genuine with us. We look for some of the same kind of qualities and characteristics we have. Or we look to see what her hobbies are, to see if, I like doing some of those things too, maybe we'll click,
Okay.
What's her favorite food? Where does she like to hang? Who does she hang with? Who's her friends? This is religious and non-religious. Men. We always look at a woman's friends because, in the hood from where we from, even the men who ain't religious, like, she hang with some, she ratchet, most likely she ratchet too.
Right.
Or she's, these Baltimore terms, old terms, like she a bucket or she's dumb, she's dumb.
Oh my God, I ain't heard that in a long time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Old words.
Right.
Like,
okay.
I've heard men say, I've said it too in the past, like, well, she a dummy, a dummy. Meaning in the connotation for this, or the definition that a woman who's easy, straight like that. She's easy. She's like a feather. You throw it in the wind, and it's gonna go wherever the wind takes it. She just loose.
So those are the type of women that you were just absolutely not looking for, or those are the type of women that you were okay with being with when you were in that state?
No, I wanted the opposite of that. So with
Okay.
some men, they want that. Obviously, they're not looking for a queen, which fits the
Right.
type of they're just looking for something that they can have a pastime with. You know, something they can just breeze through. So this is some mentality of some guys. How do I know? Because I used to hang with some of them. You know,
Right.
which reflected who I was back then. Because even when I'm not doing it, I'm hanging with these people. So it shows that I'm cool with that at that time. You know,
Right.
I'm not ashamed to say that because I'm not like that no more. But you have to come from something sometimes in order to develop who you are now. If you understand.
Absolutely. So sometimes in like we have women who have forgotten or have not been told that they are queens. So they may act as in the way of what you just said. They may act like a bucket or act like a dummy, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They may carry themselves in a way that is not queen like. You know, in those situations, would you correct them or try to encourage them to be better? Or would you say that, you know, that's just not your place, that's not something you should have to do?
No, on the contrary, I would try because everybody deserves a chance. And sometimes you meet a woman who's in the world, all she might be used to is out there giving her body up, whether it's for money or not. Or she might don't see value in herself. But it doesn't mean that she can't reform or she don't need a motivating push, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we give you a chance. But you don't be a fool at the same time. You don't give someone. My mother used to say, for his old term, you can take a horse to the river to drink, but you can't force it to drink, right? So what this means is that you can give someone a motivating push, you can encourage someone, a woman, and if she doesn't see value in herself, then you encourage her by complimenting her and being genuine. But at the end of the day, when I say at the end of the day, I mean literally at the end of the day, but at the end of the day, after some time, if you see that she's really not trying, then you keep moving because this is going to hinder you and what you want and what you're seeking. That ain't a queen. A queen, after some time, even though she don't recognize it, after some time, she's going to come to terms that, oh, this is who I am, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because I definitely know that there's some women that just never knew that they were queens. You know,
they had to be told.
They had to be told, and then they had to be shown, and they had to, you know, find their own worth. And one of the things that I can definitely say about women that transition into Islam and take their shahadas and become Muslim and they live that other life, you know, that's one of the things that I hear a lot from them is like they didn't value themselves before, you know, so it allows them to now value themselves and protect themselves and things like that. And so that's why I ask, because, you know, there's also sometimes, and not just Muslim men, but there's also that, I guess, stigma, because like you said, what was that saying? Tell me that saying again so I can implement it into
The one I started in the beginning?
Exactly.
You judge a man by the truth, not the truth by a man.
Right. So, you know, you have some men that just feel like, oh no, like that's her. You know, I'm not gonna tell her away. And I believe that our men are our leaders. You know, you are king and you're supposed to be the leader for a reason. So if you were to see, you know, this woman right here, she just definitely has no respect for herself, or she's just living her way foully, but she still wants to talk to me, or she's trying to find interest in me. So I feel like for a man, it should be his place to say, okay, listen, this is exactly why I have no interest in you. You know what I mean? Like, you're carrying yourself totally the wrong way.
We feel like, when I say we, I mean Muslims, we feel like that generally the man, what he seeks for the woman also seeks for the man. I'm talking about the most promising things, meaning what's going to keep that household structure tight, right?
Mm-hmm.
For a religious person, whether it's Christian or not, but since I'm a Muslim, I'm speaking on Islam, is that a man and a woman, they're both seeking piety in their spouse. Because if you have this, everything else is going to be easy, okay? It's going to be easy. You're not going to have a creeping man. You're not going to have a creeping woman, you know, outside of there. You know the old saying, the family that prays together stays together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Piety, that's piety. You're praying.
Right.
You're praying together. So you hold on fast to each other. You give into forgiving each other quickly. You know, wholesome value, kind speech, not slandering, not backbiting, a good provider. A woman wants a provider, not just money, but money, provision of spirituality, compassion, like this. This is all a woman wants. She wants to be understood, heard, taken care of, really nothing more. I mean, it's a lot more, but basically, essentially, if you have that, then she's okay. I believe. I'm not a woman, so that'll be something you had to say. But I believe that. I believe that. If she has an upright man, and this is the same thing we look for: an upright woman, a pious woman, someone who can have fun with me, someone who's not just some women. I don't like to say a lot of women. I say some because I don't have no statistics, but some women, because how they were raised, they don't know the value of respecting a man. You know what I'm saying? So they're always equating some bad relationship they saw or they see, and think that all men are like this. And then, or some women are bitter, and some men are bitter too, but you get some women who are bitter from their past. So they give it up on themselves, they don't even know. So they say out of their mouth easy, yeah, I want this kind of man, I want this kind of man, but sometimes they sabotage it and they block it because they already have a premeditated mind, and they're being biased that when they go in a new relationship, oh boy, he probably just like this man.
Oh my goodness, we spoke on that the last show. It's funny you say that. I said exactly that. Like, we do. We have it like embedded in our minds. When we get hurt, it's like that hurt is like imprinted on us. And unfortunately, we use that as a blocker because we're like looking at all the qualities. You can do one thing, you can chew the same way, and we're like.
Right, and it hinders you because, yes, you may have went through some stuff with the other person, and I even try this because I got ex, and I'm like, if one of my wives do something that an ex one did, even if it's just something regular, it might trigger. She used to do this, but I can't now because she doing something that she used to do. Treat her any different just because it reminds me of an action that past did.
Right.
And this is the danger, and this is what's, I'll say, hindering people today.
I believe that as well. It definitely hinders us, especially, I'm going to say especially women because, every woman, I believe every woman who seeks a man is seeking a husband, is seeking a partner in life, is seeking someone that they can spend their life with, and it's like immediately we have this list in our head, even if we ain't write it down, because some women write it down, but even if you had the list, we have it in our head, and it's like, well, we want him to be this, this, and this, but he can't be this, and this, and the things that are on the list that's bad is all of the things that we went through before, and it's like immediately that's just in our first conversation, we're just looking for those, like something to just show us like, okay, he has that quality. And like you said, it definitely hinders us because I don't feel like we give people a chance, give men a chance, really.
I think that's because sometimes, like we said, they're not giving themselves a chance to get out of that small, narrow space that they're in because of that past. They cripple.
Right.
Or they're crippled, but they cripple themselves even further by having this mindset that, okay, I want something new. But they're afraid of change. That's what it is. People are afraid of something new, something different.
Definitely.
So a woman can have a trust issue or trust issues from the past, and she get this new guy, it's 12 a.m. Just hypothetical, it's 12 a.m. or 1 a.m. He sleep, he come from work, he sleep. 12 a.m., his phone might go off, ding, or his text message might go off, ding, but it might be his a reminder that it's time to get up and pray, or whatever it may be, hypothetically, it could be anything. But because she's used to at 12 a.m., the guy she used to be with, ding, that was Christina, ding, that was Tasha. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So she's like, what's going on? So this new man, he goes to the bathroom. Check this out, he goes to the bathroom. So she goes for his phone. He comes out of the bathroom before she get into it. She's caught. So she's like, who just texted you at 1, whatever, right? So she's getting crazy. And now he looking, he might get crazy or he might not. But here's what's gonna happen. So he's like, what are you talking about? You tripping, whatever. So she remembers that even statement, you tripping. But she remembers the liar. So then they get into argument. So now he takes his phone and he opens it. And he shows her, this is my job alert. And she sees it, now she's like, oh snap. But now there's a problem because now his mind, he viewed her a certain way. So now what he viewed her is like, wow, this is who she is, this is what, and then now I'm telling you the truth as a man.
Yes, listen, I've heard this.
The man is gonna start second guessing her, even though she fit every quality that he liked or that he was looking for in the queen.
Right.
Now it's starting to diminish because he had expectation for her, and now that she's doing this, he's like, wow, I mean, he might forgive her and go on, but still, I'm telling you, there's something here now that he's like, is she always gonna be doing this?
Right.
Do I have to look behind my back every time even though there's nothing going on?
Right.
Am I gonna have a woman who doesn't trust me because of some guy in the past, or she's gonna be hounding me, and that's gonna impede on that relationship? Now she's blocking her happiness.
Exactly. And trust is like such a major thing. When we lose trust in a relationship, to me, it just definitely breaks down everything. because that trust that you have, like, you ride on everything with that. So it's like once that trust is broken, and it just makes everything fall apart, and communication is everything. So, one of the things that ladies, I'm going to say you could definitely do, if you even have an inkling in your mind, like, okay, well, why is his phone going off at 1 o'clock in the morning, is to just say to him, like, why is your phone going off at 1 o'clock in the morning? In a way and in a fashion that's not crazy, because women be going berserk. I think a lot, that's one thing that I definitely, my first marriage, we didn't even have cell phones, but we had the pagers. And the pagers, when the pagers used to go off, I just used to be like, okay, beeper's always going off. Every time I turn around, the beeper's going off. But I never asked, you know what I mean? Because I already knew what it was. But, it just definitely taught me, like, you know what? I'm just going to ask from now on. Because even now, here it is, 20 years later, I could assume, I'm going to say that, who was paging him. And I could just assume because of experiences. But I don't know. And I could have been wrong. So now I always say, like, let me just go ahead and.
But what that leads to, regrets. Like,
regrets,
regrets. It could have been, wow, it could have been anything.
Exactly. It could have been.
Here's a tip for men and women when they're looking for someone. Like you said, you have to use wisdom. I always use this word, even at home. Wisdom means doing something for the right purpose at the right time for the right reason. You have to do it. So to avoid and eradicate doubt, then just ask a question.
Right.
So the doubt can be removed, because if you have doubt, you don't talk about it, you're going to have more doubt. It's going to lead to you eventually doing some speech that's going to harm you, or some action that's going to harm you. So if you are feeling some way about something, ask. But like you said, ask a certain way. A woman can say to her husband, or her, I don't want to say boyfriend, her husband, she can say, can I ask you a question? She can say, look, babe, or whatever she calls him, I want to talk to you. And I want to let you know that I fully trust you. I want to tell you something because there's something that's happening, that's triggering from my past, but I'm not saying this is you. So I just want to get moved out. In my past relationship, that was this guy I used to see, and this used to happen, and it turned out that he was doing this. Your phone's going off, I'm not saying it's, like this or like that, but I'm feeling some same way, I'm just explaining this to you, and then I say, oh no, let me show you. You get what I'm saying?
Yes. And then it's over with, as opposed to the opposite of what you just said. Like, if you just assume, and instead of you saying something, you take it upon yourself, like, let me investigate. That just immediately brings badness, brings negativity and hurt feelings and ill feelings into the relationship, as opposed to if you just open up and have that communication. I think that's so big. I'm so glad you said that, because that's something that everybody should definitely take into consideration, especially in any relationship. I don't want to say just in the marriage. In any relationship, if you're looking to be able to achieve that goal of marriage, trust and communication is like the number one thing. So overall, we know, not overall, but we know that the number one qualities that you have of looking for a wife, what those would be. But what would be, outside of those, what would be your number one thing that you would look at as far as your potential wife? Yeah.
She got to be clean.
Cleanliness, yes.
She can't stink. Her breath can't be foul.
Right.
Her feet can't be ashy when she's walking outside.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Men like this. Some women say, well, that's weird that men like feet. It's not weird. It's what, women have that attraction in men.
Put that back up, please.
Women have that attraction in men, and men have that attraction in women.
Right.
I said it right here. Women and men and men and women.
Yeah.
So sometimes the things that we're attracted to, a woman might not think that, she might think it's weird, but if you think it's weird and you neglect yourself and beautify yourself in that aspect, in a permissible way,
right,
then you're gonna have a man look at you, you might be shutting your lock down, meaning nobody will be interested in you because you're not keeping yourself well kept.
Right, right. And I know that men definitely look for a woman that's going to upkeep, not just keep herself, but like, you're supposed to be a reminder. Like, I feel like you should be a reminder for each other. You should be a help to each other and motivate each other. So if you're not keeping yourself up, then how can I feel like men probably look at it like this, but how can I expect for you to be that partner for me to make sure that I stay on top of my game too? Yeah, if you're not doing it.
So and we also look for intelligence. someone, you don't have to be the best speaker, but don't speak on a 5th grade level. A man does not want a woman who does not know how to express herself. When I say express herself, I'm talking about speak. You know, I know some people can't form thoughts because they need help with that. I'm talking about just, they talk, let me say it in terms we understand, ratchet. We don't want no ratchet female, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, so proper communication,
Yeah,
be able to communicate well.
Yeah.
Okay, cleanliness, proper communication, make sure you got lotion on.
Like I said, she has to have value in herself, she has to see potential in herself, but she has to know her role. And like, we have to know our role. I don't mean that, what you mean she gotta know, I mean like we have to know our role.
Right.
A woman should know that she's a woman, she was created as a woman, and she should know the rights that a woman is owed and the rights that a man is owed. Meaning, we directly owe the woman the right of maintenance. You understand?
Yeah.
We owe. This is not no gift, we owe. This is mandatory that a man provides for a woman. It's not like optional. So a woman is owed that right, due that right. So we have to give it to her. She's due proper dress. She's due food. When you eat, she should eat. When you dress yourself, you should dress her.
Right.
When you shelter yourself, shelter her. You know what I mean? The essentials.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this is our role. So when I say know your role, don't be offended. I brought it back to myself so you can know what I mean. So us knowing our role as men is to do what Allah said as far as our obligation to the woman, protect them, maintain them, care for them, you know, be secure. I mean, be that sense of security. That's our role.
Definitely.
The woman's role. Because some women get offended when they hear women's role. What you mean women's role? I mean women's role. That's what I mean.
I mean, we definitely have roles. Like,
right. But some women don't like that term because some women have taken it upon themselves to equate themselves with men obligations. Like a woman, she said, I can work too. You can work. But don't let your work conflict your marriage. For example, you'll have a man, his job is to go work. That's his job. It's his job. Yeah. Your job is not to work. You can work. That's not your job. So that means that we have a child and I go work. Let me handle that so you can be home with our child. Because if I'm working and you're working, who the child with? And then who's preparing dinner for when I come home and for our kids? We don't want to be eating McDonald's every night. I don't want no number 2 or, every night. I don't want that. You know?
You don't want to make pick too?
No.
So
I'll choose a number 2 on my wife's menu. She could come up with a menu of 10 value meals. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I want a number 2 when I come home. That's what I want. Forget McDonald's.
Okay.
McWifey's.
So is it the same McWifey's, right? Wifey's cafe. So this is, I don't want to like stir nothing, right? But do you as a man, would you cook and take care of your wife the same way as well? Because you do have women now in 2018 who are, I'm going to say, not just trying to take the man's role, but, women have had to step up and had to be the one.
Because the man don't do his job?
Because some men don't do their job. And so, I mean, clearly, I don't know your situation, but when, I'm always talking about dating over 30 because I'm over 30, right? So marrying over 30, sometimes you may be marrying someone who has had to step up and had to find her place and get a job and start working and taking care of her household. And she might not be willing to just let all of that go. So if that's a relationship that a man and a woman decide to have, and she's working and he's working, I think that my personal is I would think that it would be a compromise to where you all would make your schedules fit so that you don't have a McPick 2, but she don't have a McPick 2 either.
That goes back to the sit down though. That's why you put everything on the table back then.
And the sit down.
Right. You won't have this part. Everything goes right back to that. You won't have this part. So you tell a woman at the sit down, not tell her, ask her, are you working? She say yes. I'm not against you working. But the thing I'm against is that if her work environment impedes or hinders her from getting closer to God, I have a problem with that.
Okay.
But she can work, no problem. So I'll say, you're working, no problem. Okay, this is how much I make. This is sufficient for our home. Would you have a problem with staying home because God might decree or bless us to have a child, and I would like my wife to be home with my child, nurturing her, feeding her, breastfeeding her or him, to get the right proper nutrients and so you can cultivate our child. I'm going to help you too. I'm just out. When I come home, I'm not just going to come home, eat and sleep. I'm going to come home because I was out in the world all day. Come home, relax, eat, sit with my wife, see how her day was, spend time with my child.
Okay.
Like that.
Okay.
But if I'm working and you're working, when we both come home, we're both tired. We both now have to find out how to get the food in the house by ordering out because now it's too late to start making any meal and eating past a certain time. So what does it go back to? It goes back to a household structure. A hierarchy, as they say, a hierarchy. The man's the head of the household. Why? Because the woman is lowly? No. Because God made it like this because he's the maintainer and provider. So he's the head of the household. If he says something that's wholesome, then she should listen. But if he tells her something that's harmful to him and her, as far as religious matters and things that's going to destroy their family, she has no obligation to listen to him because who is he if he's going to tell her to do something wrong? You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
this is how religion works. While some people just they don't present it the correct way. You hear people in the street saying, you hear women sometimes saying, I don't want to be no Muslim because it's like they don't have no say in the house. That's not true, but maybe I understand why you said it because I said in the beginning, don't judge a man by the truth, judge the truth. I mean, don't judge the truth by a man. So some people are doing things like that, and then it could turn people away. But I advise people to not look at the person, look and see what the religion actually says, and then compare. And say, okay, I could be in something like this, but obviously he ain't doing it right.
Right.
Like that.
Right. Okay. Those are really, really, really good answers. I have to say, I knew you would come with it. I knew you would come with some great information. Definitely, being educated is extremely important. And if she isn't educated, oh my gosh, this is good. So if you find a sister that isn't that educated, do you help her get educated? Do you take the time? If everything else is matching, but she's just not speaking well, is that something that you work on? And not even just that flaw, but if it's just one flaw, do you work on that? Or over 30 and getting married, do you just say, okay, no, let me just go ahead and move on?
Well, I don't look at the age then. Like over 30, it could be
I do. I'm kidding.
One of my wives is just turned 23, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't look at the number. I look at the maturity and her ability, or not her ability, her ambition or aspiration to want to learn, right? That plays a factor because if you're trying to help somebody learn, they don't want to learn, it's a waste of time.
Right.
So if they want to, then yes, that's an endearing quality. It shows that they want to learn. So by all means, teach her.
Right.
So you don't look at one bad thing and outweigh the good.
Right.
Our prophet said that. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Let not one of you," I'm paraphrasing, "let not one of you hate a believing woman." So if she does one thing that you don't like, look at her qualities that you like, and maybe that's going to outweigh that bad and make you forget about that.
Okay. So one of the questions, well, this is the one question that I've had a couple people say they wanted me to ask, so I'm going to ask you definitely. How in the world are you able to obtain 4 wives? And a lot of brothers have not been able to obtain 1 wife. So they want to know, some men want to know what qualities you have that maybe they don't know that they need to have, or they don't know like how to get. So give them some knowledge. That's what I've been asked to ask. So I'm asking.
That's not the first time I've been asked that question.
Really? Okay.
I'm asked that question every time I come here. I'm going to give the same answer I give every time.
Okay.
There's a couple of answers to this. The number one answer is that it has nothing to do with me, primarily, first. It's only because of God. Everybody are in positions because God has blessed us, their provision. So I have to be grateful for that. I don't have 4 wives because some secret knowledge that I have, or some pimp game that I have, or some wordplay that it don't have nothing to do with that. I ain't some slick guy that can just, yeah, you my wife, and I'm with that. No. God has allowed me to have it first, that's my blessing. Number 2, I can attribute it way back to my mother next. My mother raised me to be a respectful man. My mother did not have my father in her life, in my life or her life, so now I know the value of a woman. So now I know what a woman wants because I was raised under a woman and no man. I only know how to be a man or father or husband because of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's who you have right here, a reflection of him, and that's our leader. So everything I'm saying, this is not something from my own. I had to study this. I had to emulate it because he's our role model for the one who hopes to meet Allah with good graces. So Muhammad, peace be upon him, is my role model. I'm not going to say idol, because Muslims are definitely one of idols. He's my role model. He's my leader. He's my prophet. Okay. So he's what I follow. So with being a husband, check, he did that. A father, check, he did that. A friend, check, he did that, etc., etc. So that's 2. The wives, they see that in me because they've told me. That's how I'm able to speak on it. That's 2. Number 3, my mentality and my patience. You have to have patience, especially for one woman. So imagine 4. You have to have patience. That means restraint. And you have to be able to deal with some things in the beginning with hopes that it will get to a certain way that you will like it, because everybody's not going to conform right away. They have the ability to, but you have to be wise and know that everybody ain't going to do that.
Right.
Now, the big question to some of these guys who say, well, we can't hold one. Maybe because you're doing the wrong thing. Maybe because, I said maybe. Maybe because you don't know how to treat a woman. Maybe. Maybe because you don't know what to say. Or maybe because, just maybe, and this, I should have said this first, you're not striving to please God, so he ain't going to provide you with nothing that you really want anyway.
Right.
That's it. That's my answer.
You do, and I definitely agree. One of the things that I could say for men that seek or look at this show when we have you on, you know, they see that you have 4 wives. I think that first question comes because they're just like, well, dang, I would love to have 4 wives, not knowing that it is work. Well, exactly. Your why. Like, why is it? Because Allah's not going to give you something that you don't deserve and that you're not really prepared for. I don't believe. So, you know, I think that that's one of the reasons they...
I apologize. Let me go on note and say this. I ask Allah, God, to protect me from the evil eye of my family. No marriage is without problems, okay? Every marriage has problems. Now, whether they're major or minor, that's a different issue, but every marriage has problems. I have a platform for my house, and all my women know that. They were here, they know that. I'm the type of man, I don't tolerate games. And they don't tolerate games either. What I mean by games is disrespect. I don't tolerate disrespect because I'm not going to disrespect you. I don't tolerate foolishness and a lack of response. I don't tolerate that because, what's that movie called? I Can Do Bad All By Myself? Someone can do that by themselves.
Right.
If I even should use that quote. But really, let me throw that away. I retract that.
Retract that.
Let me say, no, but I use that because some people can relate to that.
But I get it.
So the reason I said this is because the Prophet ﷺ said, talk to people and let them understand. Some people only understand that. But let me go further and say, fear God as he should be feared, be aware of him, and be a Muslim, meaning be upright, submit to God, because if you do this, you won't have to worry about nothing. So I said that to say, my family is not inexchangeable. They're expendable too, and so am I. Meaning, just as much as they're a blessing, they can be gone. They know this. I'm not, no, they can be gone. They can turn out to be bad. I pray that don't happen, but they can also be gone. I'm not claiming that my wives are better than any other woman. They can be gone just like that. Not because I say so, because he says so. I can be gone just like that. Whether it's by our souls being stripped, or we diversing and getting debunked by him right back to the lifestyle we came from. You understand?
Absolutely.
Some people in life, they think they're playing a game, and they're playing with the wrong one. So they doing these things, and then what happens? They find themselves right back at square one. Like, how did I get right here? That was just right here, you know?
Yeah.
It means it's time to do some self-reflection and evaluation and realize and be grateful. Some people are not grateful.
Yeah.
Some husbands are not grateful. Some wives are not grateful.
Yeah.
You get a blessing in your face, you recognize the blessing, and then you spit on it because you're like, well, I made it. I'm secure. While you're thinking you're secure, you don't know that the one who gave you that security is watching you and will definitely strip it in a second while he's watching you, just to see, while he already knows how you're going to be grateful for this, or are you going to be grateful for this, and bam, gone.
Yeah.
That's it.
Wow. Well, before we go any further, can I see real quick? We had to turn the monitor off, so I just want to see if it was any
Maybe it was so clear when no questions was needed.
I mean, right? It was.
I don't know. Tell them nobody's scared. Some people don't ask questions because they think it's offensive. I'm not offended by no question. I'm just saying that because some people, they want to ask. You find that some people want to ask questions. They're like, well, I don't know what I should ask. Ask it. If it's offensive, I'll tell you. I don't think it's going to be offensive.
No, just oh, I mean, no, these are just comments. Okay, here you go, sweetie. Thank you. Okay, so I want to say thank you so much for coming and giving us some knowledge and giving us your perspective on what it is a king looks for in a queen and what it is a Muslim man looks for in a Muslima, and also giving our viewers here the opportunity to learn more about Islam and about the way of Islam and the way of a Muslim man seeking a Muslim wife, and even for women to be able to be enlightened on what it is that a Muslim man would be seeking in a Muslim wife. Hopefully this answers some questions for those who may have questions, as far as women who may have questions as well as men who may have questions. You guys can always feel free to comment your questions even after the show is over. over. Brother Kashif is always willing to answer any questions that you have, and even if you want to have a private conversation with him, he's always open and willing to have that with you as well, to answer any questions. Is there anything else you want to leave with everybody in reference to this topic or anything?
In order for a man who considers himself to be a king, if you're looking for a queen, first you have to recognize if you fit the category of even being a king worthy of having a queen, if you understand.
Absolutely.
And vice versa. Vice the same thing. I'll say this on both ends, I mean for both genders. Sometimes the man be like, oh, I can't wait to get this type of woman. Or the woman be like, oh, I can't wait to get this type of man. But you also have to ask yourself, what are you willing to also give in order to receive? I don't mean to tit for tat, scratch my back thing. I mean, some women, they want this type of man, but some women have not grown to a level where they're just with kind speech to their man. You know, they just ratchet. You know, I can't think of no other word than that. They just ratchet with their tongue. They like, they in his face, where you been at? They come in, hold on, I just came in. You know what I'm saying? I'm glad I don't go through that, but some guys that I know, they go through that. They come in the street, they come in that house, they had a rough day already. They come in there, she's like, why you getting here 5 minutes late? You gotta deal with a woman like 5 minutes late. Or you ask her, did you make anything for me to eat? You're not even asking, what, I'm your slave or something? No, I'm hungry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Some women are like this. So I'm saying to them as an advice, change that and probably you'll see a different man who wants to even come home. Some people who come home late hours of the night, they might not be doing nothing. They might just be in their car like, oh man, I'm about to go in there. And then she big here around the corner, he's still out front, thinking should he walk in this place?
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that as well, because I think that's something that in every show I'm looking for, with this topic that women will probably be looking for answers to, as to, you know, a lot of women unfortunately have marriages like that, where their husband just is not coming home and they're just trying to figure out what it is that they can do to get themselves together. Like, well, what is it that I'm doing that's wrong?
Some don't think like that. That's good, whoever think like that. But some are just saying, why he ain't coming back? And they start assuming stuff instead of assuming on them. It could be, people gotta do self-reflection. When you go like this, you got these three looking at you. It could be, dang, am I doing something to keep my husband away?
Yeah.
Am I combing my hair? You'd be surprised. Trust me, I'm giving you a hint. You'll be surprised. A woman should say, am I combing my hair? Did I brush my teeth? I'm so serious. Did I brush my teeth? Did I get a pedicure? You know, am I working out? I'm so serious. Well, I keep saying I'm so serious because you find that, even because I do counseling too, when I counsel some families, these are some of the problems. Some of the guys are like, and some of the women like, he ain't the freshest down there. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real. This is a real show, I'm being real.
Yeah.
He ain't the freshest, he don't shave. She don't shave. I'm not about to be with no woman who don't shave down there. We being real, we're adults, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not about to be with a woman who doesn't take who doesn't use
Proper hygiene?
who doesn't have proper hygiene.
Yes.
So this is a fact. And some people are like, what you mean? Yeah, that's a fact. And sometimes you have all the good qualities for his character until physicality comes out. Like, what are you doing? I don't care about the other stuff now.
And you know, I think in relationships, sometimes people get comfortable. And they get too comfortable to where they think like, oh, well, I'm
They stop dressing up.
Yeah, like, oh, especially after a long, if somebody's been married for years, they're like, oh, I've been married for years, or I've been married for years, like, I'm not about to go upstairs and do my hair. He's seen my hair like this. You know, I think that that's extremely important. So I'm glad that you're speaking on that as well, because ladies, I definitely know that you definitely have, and gentlemen, you know, you definitely have to keep yourself up, because you want to continue to be desirable to your mate, you know, and even though your mate might love you, genuinely, you know, have a great relationship with you, if you come in and your breath is smelling bad every day, you know, that's a problem.
There's one more thing I just thought of, and this is real, so that's what I'm saying. I forgot to mention this, it's worth mentioning. A man also looks in a queen, someone to hold him down sexually. I meant to say that, I forgot. I meant to say, just like a woman want a man to hold her down sexually. Why am I saying this? Because that's a vital part of a marriage. And a child can come from that. You understand?
Yeah.
This is very important. Some people say, well, that's not that important. It is that important. Because that comes with a marriage. That comes with a queen. It's not all about that, but you asked me.
It's definitely important.
Right, exactly. So, and for you not to lie, some people are lying. You understand? You need to tell the truth. Some people, when you're going to sit down or when you sit with women, they lie. Just like men lie. A woman asks them, you know, how well endowed are you? We're adults, so we don't need to be looking at this as immature. Some women ask, how well endowed are you? And they lie because they just like her or they're attracted to her. And then when they get with her, so you told me this. You got a problem now. You're starting off with a problem because you lied. and he relied on that. You understand?
Right.
Same thing with a woman. How well aroused are you? These are questions that, yes, we ask. Why? Because you're going to marry this person. You're going to be intimate with this person. So don't be like, that's not a question you should ask. Why not?
I'm glad you said that though, because a lot of people, they ask me, when it comes to having Islamic conversations, and we talk about marriages and things like that, especially when they find out that I've been married and I was married to a Muslim. They think, they're like, oh, well, you didn't know anything, before you got married. But if you actually sit down and have these in-depth conversations, and at the sit down and actually ask the most, I guess vulnerable questions that you want to know, right? Because this is the person that you're going to be marrying. So a lot of non-Muslims believe that when Muslims get married and they just had that sit down and they just met each other in the room, or they just had a meeting in the office, that they didn't get to ask those type of questions or get to know that person on that level. So even though you don't get to actually experience, those things, and you don't have that physical, in the beginning, you still have the opportunity to sit down and ask those in-depth questions.
Some more things just popped in my head now. We also look to see how many partners she had before her. We're not necessarily going to judge that because sometimes she could have had 3, 4, 5 people, but it could have been wholesome, and maybe they beat her up or something. Okay, valid. That's why you left it. It just happened again. No problem. Also, or it could be you chose to have them recklessly, and this is the type of person you are, and now, I won't be graphic because some children might be watching this, you're not enjoyable, if you know what I'm talking about. You get what I'm saying? Too many partners, you're not enjoyable, if you can read between lines.
Okay.
And we look for a healthy woman, someone who cares about their body.
Right.
If a woman's just eating up everything, she always wants to go to McDonald's like every night. What's wrong with you? Number one, that causes gas, so you're going to be up in the room. I'm dead serious. This stuff might be funny, but it's serious. You're going to be up in the room, busting off. I don't want to smell that. You know what I'm saying? It's not even going to make me want to be intimate with you. These are real issues. While some people might be laughing, these are real issues.
This is something that I also wanted to ask. I'm glad you said that. I always say I'm going to sit down and I'm going to have my little cue card ready, but let me tell you, with 9 children and all this other stuff going on in my life, when it comes time for this show, I be busting it. But I'm glad you mentioned that because it just hit my mind another question. What is the one thing that would turn you off to have a prospective wife in that meeting? Because in that meeting, in that sit down, this is just sit down, this is when you're getting to know her. What is the one thing that would turn you off and say, okay, absolutely not?
In general?
In general.
It's a lot of things. I already mentioned she can't stay.
I mean, okay, yeah, she can't stay.
I'm dead serious.
Yeah, but just like, cause when you're having
if she has a certain type of friend, cause I ask about friends. When I'm interested in a woman, I want to know who her friends are, because I want to know what they're doing.
Okay.
Why? Because I'm nosy. No, I want to know because if they doing it and you hang with them, you approve of it. So if they doing stuff that I'm not in approval of, that could be a what they call a deal breaker, as they say, deal breaker.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I like a certain body type. So if you don't have that body type, I'm not saying it's all about that, but you have to be real with yourself. If you have a preference, you like your preference.
Right.
If that preference is not there, it can lead you to being unjust in your marriage because you're really going off something that you don't have. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's a certain body preference I have. Me personally, certain body preference I have.
Okay.
There's a certain facial. I got a lot of preferences, but everybody got preferences. So.
Okay, you're supposed to. You're supposed to, especially when it comes to having a partner in life.
But those things, I will go on record and saying those things are not the ultimate deal breaker because, like I said, what I'm looking for deeply, she got to be committed to her creator. That's what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
You can work with that. If someone's like that, a lot of other stuff become beautiful to you anyway.
That is very true. So, I mean, just
except
little
if you smell bad, that don't never come good.
Smell bad. So, on my last show, the gentleman said that it was okay if his girl passed gas and did all those type of things in front of him. So, are those things that are just oh no for you?
It depends. I'll explain it because first of all, you gotta be real. That's natural, but it's how you do it.
Right.
Women say, "Oh, it's not ladylike." Look, men and women they pass wind, but there's an etiquette to it.
Right.
If you don't know, sometimes you do it and it's there. It's like you feel the birds. It came out. It's like the only thing you do is say, "Excuse me." But I don't like that if you do that and you know it's gonna be odors, and then everybody's like, "Who was that?" And then you chilling like. Say excuse me, remove yourself.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right,
don't do that and sit still,
Right.
Go somewhere.
Right. So that's a turn off. That's a no.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's like that.
If it's like that. If it's like that.
If she's getting up and she's like,
excuse herself.
Excuse me.
I mean, yeah, that's the whole thing. I
Well,
think
even if it's in front of you, but it's something she can't control.
Okay.
Sometimes you can't control it. That's for us too. It might come up, might be loud, it might be not loud. They say them silent was like killers, right? That's what they say.
right.
That's what they say. I'm being
the
real.
silent was right. Okay, all right.
Well, we gotta be real, right?
We do, absolutely, because you definitely we want you to really know. I know it's going to be a lot of different perspectives on that, the etiquettes and how a woman carries herself as far as, whether or not, I guess in my terms, if she's ladylike
And someone
or
was
not.
like, well, I never do it around my man. You know, you two sleep with each other, so it's gonna be times where she does it while she's sleeping and he notices it. Sometimes he's gonna do it while he's sleeping and she notices it.
Yeah.
Can't do nothing about that.
Yeah, but she can do something about that breath, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. So, is there anything else that you want to say before we get off of here?
Like I always say, first, thank you for bringing me on here. For taking your time out to sit with me.
Definitely, thank you.
And we thank Allah by thanking the people. So if we don't thank the people, we haven't thanked our Lord. So I thank you for that. And I was grateful to speak on this topic because I didn't want to just be, no offense to nobody who's already been on. I didn't just want to come on here to be on this camera. I didn't want to come on here just to spit my philosophy so people could say, oh, this and that. I wanted to really represent Islam. That's why I always come here. So if you don't know, you know now. I'm always coming here for Islam purposes first, nothing else.
Right.
So if you want to get something straight, get that straight.
Yes.
That's what it is, Islam, all day. That's what
and I appreciate that so much. And I always invite you for that purpose. So it's good that you come for that purpose. Because I always invite you for that purpose, and this is the first time I've had you and not your wives as well, but just having you and your wives it's always a pleasure to hear you all speak, to give your perspectives, to give us the information and enlighten us on, different things when it comes to, having 4 wives and just living differently than the average person,
Yeah. Also, to clarify some things, so people watch this show and some people are not educated with Islam, meaning they just don't know. Probably some of the people watching this, they see I'm not looking at you right in your eyes. So people are like, that's rude. I'm not being rude.
No.
I know you know. I'm talking some people, they might say, how come that man here on her show, he ain't looking at her and all this? I'm not looking at her out of respect for my Creator, because Allah says, when you see the opposite gender, to lower your gaze as not to create a temptation for you.
Right.
This. And also I have my wives. I respect them too. So I'm not going to be all in her face, but I'm listening to her. I'm answering the questions. I'm not going to be all in her face,
Right.
So that's just to get some clarification for that. You remove doubt, because some people are like, that's a very disrespectful man. He ain't even looking at him. Because in our Western world, they equate respect with looking in the eyes. And somebody could look at you in your eyes and lie. They'd be like, let me look in your eyes, make sure you're not lying. What does that mean? Somebody could look you straight in your eyes and lie.
Right. And disrespectful, right?
Especially in Baltimore.
Right? Right, absolutely. So I hope you guys got that cleared up, and I'm glad that you gave them that clarity, because definitely not. I mean, I definitely, if you haven't seen Kashif Muhammad on my show before and seen all the many times, he's not only been on this show, but he's also been on Rebuilding the Village, and him and his wives, and they always are just so awesome, and I truly appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys for just coming, period, and being able to bring Islam, to the show, despite what people think watching. I ain't gonna say that.
I never care what people think, but I respect people's opinions.
Definitely.
I don't care if they're negative. I don't care. I respect it because you have a right to have an opinion.
You do.
My last advice. I don't want to wrap the show up.
You go ahead.
My last advice that I can give to people is sincerely seek the pleasing way that the Creator has made for us. Yes, I'm talking about Islam, the religion of Allah, the religion of surrender and submission. Seek that, because with that, you're going to have peace. I promise you. Whether you believe me or not, only those who are sincere, they will seek what I'm saying, and inshallah, God willing, they're going to find it. If you don't believe me, you'll stay miserable. And I mean that with all due respect. I'm telling you that sincerely, if you seek Islam, you're going to acquire peace, the correct Islam. Remember what I said in the beginning? That's why I said this. You judge a man by the truth and not the truth by a man. You're going to see a lot of things that Muslim men do that Islam does not warrant. So do not view Islam, or don't say, well, that's one of the reasons I left Islam because he did. We don't, he's not Islam. He's not Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So if this man beat his wife, then he did that.
And those people, right?
There's no narration or text that say Muhammad beat his wife, he darkened their eyes and he broke their bones. Nothing like that. So all these lies that they say, so I'm just saying, so to clear this up in a nutshell, my advice is that sincerely seek Islam, because what does this have to do with her topic? Because a man who looks for a queen, you're only going to get a queen if she submits to a Lord. And if she's submitting to a Lord, then obviously she should be following her Creator. That's why I say that's my advice.
Well, thank you so much for your advice, and thank you for bringing everything that you brought to the show tonight. I truly appreciate you. And to everybody that is watching, I truly appreciate you too. Thank you so much for tuning into Beyonkas Playhouse Talk Show tonight. Make sure you are also hitting that share button and telling friends to tell friends to tell friends about Beyonkas Playhouse Talk Show. It has been a pleasure having you here tonight, Brother Kashif. Thank you. And make sure, all your wives that are watching, I love you all, and I definitely pray I see you all soon, inshallah. All right, assalamu alaikum. Good night.
Thank you.